Alright, welcome to the Kurfürst video. Kind of the second one I've done, but I want to focus more on the ship this time rather than just an interesting game I had on Ocean. The Kurfürst is a pretty good battleship, actually. I actually really enjoy this ship, despite it kind of not being the most meta-defining battleship. I've just always enjoyed having 12 guns. 12-gun battleships are kind of my favorite ships to play in the game. There's just something about them that, despite having bad dispersion, they can just do stuff like that. Just nice little citadel at the start of the round. It just feels more consistent when you have 12 rounds going out instead of 8 or 9, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I really like this ship. And I've kind of messed around a lot with different builds with it. As you know, I love a full secondary build as much as the next guy, but Tier 10's not the most welcoming of that kind of build on a ship, so I've actually kind of toned it down a little bit so that I have a little bit more ability for long range and survival builds kind of thing. So, yeah, basically that involves switching out for concealment and superintendent. That's pretty much what I've decided to change out. Concealment allows you to get into more advantageous positions, and as we'll see later on, it's going to allow you to disengage a lot easier. And yeah, you'll see in the second game that I actually live because I have concealment. The thing about superintendent is you want to have as much health as you possibly can late game, because late game is when you can brawl and push in and do the full secondary kind of fun stuff, right? But getting to late game is kind of difficult in a Kurfürst, especially if you play aggressively like I do. As you can see in this game, we've pretty much completely just given up on A as a team, which is a little unfortunate. So I'm trying to push to this B island and then fight these people coming up from A 1 versus 1, because I can use this island to stop the majority of their team fighting me, and then I can just take these one-on-one fights. And because I still have range and accuracy mods on my secondaries, the secondaries will still do a decent chunk of damage. That Kurfürst got a citadel on me. I was turning in a little bit. You do have to be a little bit careful of that. The other thing is there's a slight cheek to Kurfürst. If you look in the port armor viewer, you can see it. It's way smaller than like Yamato gets, but it's still there, and you got to be a little bit careful of it. But yeah, you see how I'm getting spammed over this island by high explosive? That's what we want to avoid. So that's why I'm trying to get at least angled to this Kurfürst, because he keeps hitting me pretty hard. But once I'm behind this island, I'm actually relatively safe here, surprisingly. So it's positions like this you want to get in a Kurfürst, where the enemy team have to push into you and you're angled away. Everybody complains, as well as I do, about Kurfürst turret angles, but as you can see, the turret angles backwards are actually really, really good. For some reason, the front turrets can just look backwards way farther than the back turrets can look forwards. And that just allows you to be really, really difficult to deal with when you're angled away from people, because you get all 12 guns off, which is pretty scary. Let's be honest, 12 guns is a lot, and you can stay angled enough that their AP isn't actually going to do that much to you. Unfortunately, sometimes you just get unlucky, and that's just battleships, you know? 4 overpens there. I wasn't too happy. You'll see we still get some pretty decent damage in this game, which I guess on the spreadsheet says things are okay, but as you all know, I don't really care so much about what the spreadsheet thinks. I care more about good, balanced gameplay where people get punished for playing badly and rewarded for playing well. And, well, I get a little frustrated with battleships sometimes when that happens. But it's okay. Kurfürst is more than capable of making up for that with secondaries and tankiness and all that good stuff. Because as you can see, they're starting to push out now, so I'm going to go forward a little bit. They're exerting just a bit more pressure on me, so I'm just going to go forward and use this island to shield me again. The other nice thing about Kurfürst, obviously, is that it has a Hydro. Hydro is so awesome. After playing so many of the American secondary build battleships, and trying to push in and brawl with those, having a Hydro is so nice to have. And it allows you to do things like this, where 2 destroyers are kind of rushing you, and you can be relatively safe in knowing that at least where the torpedoes are going to be. You won't necessarily be able to dodge them since, well, you're a bit of a big, slow, unmaneuvering battleship. But that's okay, because sometimes that they just miss. I don't know where this Shimakaze was aiming, but sometimes they just miss, and that's nice. Yeah, the build here doesn't include IFHE, unlike my Pommern build, and that's because you get 128mm secondaries as well as 150mm secondaries, which means since the buffs recently, they all pen 32mm of armor, so there's actually no point in running IFHE. Nice juicy 25k salvo on that Bismarck. These guns are devastating, and ever since Wargaming buffed the German battleships to have American battleship dispersion table. Basically, this is a Montana with 1.8 sigma instead of 1.9 sigma like Montana has. That's really the main difference in these guns, which is pretty awesome. I should talk about the 406 and 420mm guns. It really is up to you. It's personal preference, honestly, what you want. Some people really like the faster reload. Some people like the extra damage and shell velocity and pen that comes with the 420 guns. But both are really good, honestly. And I switch back and forth between them quite often. Realistically, though, at closer ranges, I would say the 406mm guns are just better because of the faster reload. That's what you want at close range. You don't really care as much about shell velocity or how much they pen, because at close range that doesn't matter. At longer ranges, though, the 420mm guns do perform better. They're, I think, around a second faster, or half a second faster to 20 kilometers, which isn't insignificant. That does help you lead at longer ranges better. And they also pen more. So when you're dealing with longer range battleship shots, if a battleship gives you a broadside, the 420s will more likely deal damage. But against cruisers, it really doesn't matter because they both have enough to pen, which is pretty nice. So finally, we make up for all those salvos on that Nevsky and Dev strike him, which is so nice. And yes, having secondaries is a nice little thing to deter destroyers at close range. As we all know, it's tricky to deal with DDs now that AP pens have been removed at close range. But yeah, nice game, 209k. We didn't really use our secondaries much, and that's kind of the point I want to get across, is you don't have to be brawling all the time in secondary range to use this ship well. As much as I would like to be in brawling secondary range, you see we only did 10k damage with our secondaries. 194 with the main battery, and that's even with a secondary build without the accuracy mods and all that stuff. So it's pretty good. Here in this game, we are about to get overwhelmed. And Kurfürst is good at holding positions like this, but not against a lot of enemy ships. And as you're about to see, there's going to be a lot of ships coming up here. So I have two choices right now. I can either sit here and hope they push into me in a way that I can get my secondaries off on this Republic, because obviously we want to shoot our secondaries at the Republic since he has 32mm of armor everywhere, but I'm going to be exposed to a Moskva and a Salem that are just going to spam high explosive at me over and over and over again, and you can see how much health I've already lost. Fires are nasty. They're nasty in this game. As you can see, got a triple fire already on me. Which is kind of insane as far as RNG goes, but that can happen when you're at a battleship. I don't particularly enjoy it, but it's in the game, so we just gotta play around it as best we can. So we really only have a Des Moines for help here with us. The Minotaur is likely just gonna smoke and cap and then just leave. That's my guess. So my plan here is to reverse and turn as much as I can, and I want to just run away to the islands at the B4-5 area. My goal is to kind of get there. I don't want to fight cruisers like this in islands, especially islands that they can lob HE shells over at. Salem, of course, has 30 millimeters of armor on its upper bow and deck, which we don't overmatch, so he can just bounce a lot of what we shoot at him at longer ranges. So we gotta go. As you can see, we're already down to half HP, and we've used a heal already. We've done a little bit of damage in return, but this is not a sustainable position here. We're about to get wrapped on by the Kremlin and Petropavlovsk, and a Republic right in front of us. So we're basically dead here if we stay. My initial thinking in coming to this spot was that, oh, nobody really goes out into these islands very much, at least as far as I can remember. A lot of times people just kind of make their way over to the sea cap and don't really worry about A, but and that's why I came to this island, because I wanted to do a couple 1v1 fights along this little coast here and then maybe take A, but that didn't happen this game. As you can see, half their team came here against the 2.5 of us, kind of 3. So used our second heal already, still on 40k HP already. Fortunately, they did make some mistakes in as far as positioning is concerned. They're just kind of letting me get damage on them, which is nice. As you can see in this one, I'm using the 406mm guns. But I think in that last one I was using the 420s maybe? I don't really know. They're so close in performance that it's just personal preference, honestly. So we're gonna run. We've got a bit of health to work with, but and since we have our damage con up, I'm actually okay with shooting here. But if I didn't have my damage control up, I would be trying to go dark and stay dark as much as I can. But our goal right now is not to run completely away. Our goal is to deter, like this Republic, we have to deter him outside of our detection range, which is around 14.3 kilometers with the full concealment build. And as you can see, we're getting into that range just a little bit here, so pop our damage control, which maybe was a bit early to do it, but by the time our concealment resets like this, we're gonna go dark. If they got a fire, that would have sucked, but we probably could have gotten away. I will shoot to try and kill this Republic. It is key that we get him down before he can heal up and get away from us. But as you can see here, there's nothing really within my detection range. So once our detection resets, we can just go dark. And that's the really powerful part about a concealment-based build. Instead of going in a full YOLO secondary maximum build, concealment lets you get into interesting spots. Like, I got into that spot at the beginning of the game for free. Like, they didn't spot me getting there. And here, well, there's a CV, so plane spotting's the thing, which is a little sad. But we normally would be able to go dark and not be detected at all, which is pretty cool. But they've kind of given up on chasing us for now. I think that my guess is the Salem is trying to get up to the island at the E1 line. That's my guess. So I'm trying to keep in mind that, yeah, there he is. He's on his way. So that's what I was thinking about this whole time, is I need to get far enough away from there that Salem can't just lob HE at me over the island. And while we're doing that, we know their team wants to get into the A cap since we control B and C. Fortunately, my team did win on the side that they were strong on. By delaying as long as we have in this game, we gave our team a huge advantage on the other side of the island. And fortunately, they took advantage of that. Sometimes that doesn't quite happen, but in staying alive like this, now we're hugely valuable to our team. Not only for delaying, but if they want to push through A, they're giving me broadside and a Des Moines and a Minotaur, but it's me that they got to worry about when giving broadside, because I can devastating strike one of those cruisers if they get spotted broadside to me in the cap zone. So they're in a bit of a tricky situation now. So for them, I think the game is pretty much lost for them. It's kind of unfortunate that their other side didn't kite away or delay as well as we did. So that's kind of how you impact the game, even if you are on the weaker side. It's not always about pushing in and making the game a win for your team. Sometimes it's all about just staying alive, keeping your points in your ship, and being kind of that nuisance on the flank for the enemy team. So now that our team's kind of pushed up through B at this point, I can think about turning around. We've got 40k health again. We got a heal available. We got our damage control available. We're in a pretty good spot right now. So we're also getting closer to an island. So I could either just run away around the island, and we'd probably win the game anyway. But I want to fight a little bit more, so we're going to turn back in. Our Des Moines has actually done a really good job of delaying as well. As you can see, he's went to the 1 line. That was a good choice by him. It gives us a bit of a crossfire. Des Moines AP is no joke, so you got to respect that too. So if they want to push that Des Moines, I need to be ready for that, because they'll be giving me broadside if they want to push up to spot and kill that Des Moines. And we want to obviously protect our Des Moines. It's all about getting into these crossfires when you're kiting away like this. You want to put the team in a bad position, giving broadside to someone, and then that's when people die, or ships die really quickly. As you can see, with spotter plane and that, you can get some pretty nice hits on ships at long range when in the Kurfürst. It's not impossible to hit shots like that. I do run legendary mod on this ship. You don't have to. Reload mod's probably better. In fact, if you feel like you can't really get into brawling situations and you're constantly out of range, I have run range mod on this ship before, and it works just fine. I'd probably run the 406mm guns then, so that you have a 29-second reload. 32-second reload kinda sucks, honestly, but it's a good ship with any of those modifications. I just run the legendary mod, so we buff our secondaries as well as our main gun reload. And I find that 19 kilometers is enough range for most of the time, and then we just run a spotter plane when we need more range than that. So it works good. And as you can see there, Salem and Kremlin are now forced to angle to the Des Moines or to me. Really what should happen is they should really be angling to me, honestly, while they're trying to shoot and kill the Des Moines, because I'm a little bit of a scarier target, at least once we get a little bit closer and don't just shatter on that Kremlin's broadside. The Des Moines for sure needs to be cautious about me. So he's doing an alright job. He's going to probably turn out here. He'll give broadside to the Des Moines, but that's okay if the Des Moines shooting HE at the Kremlin. But we got a little bit lucky overmatching his stern and Citadelium through there. But even if we didn't, these guys are in such a rough position between that Des Moines on my team and myself. Yeah, the Kurfürst, man, in conclusion, kind of wrapping up, this is a good ship. And you see we did like 160k damage this game already. This is a great ship. It's good at long range even, despite it's seemingly not supposed to being good at long range. It's pretty decent. And 12 guns really helps it feel better compared to a lot of other battleships that normally only have 9 or 8 guns. The consistency is there a little bit more because of that, despite not having the best Sigma. And yeah, I hope that kind of shows at least a little bit how I like to play this ship. I actually really don't like playing this ship pushing into people. I enjoy kiting away from people in this ship because of those turret angles that you can keep all your guns on while staying reasonably well angled. And that's why you'll often see me reversing into a cap or reversing into different areas so that I can stay angled a little bit better. It really helps the Kurfürst stay alive. If you're showing enough broadside when pushing in to get all your guns off, you're gonna take a lot of damage really quickly, just due to having to angle it like 45 degrees. So that's kind of the Kurfürst vid. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you have a good day.